Hey, are you ready to rock? Okay, everybody aboard. This crazy train is doing an update for panningpunk. Strap in, get yourselves ready. Let's get down to some of the housekeeping details we need to take care of first. One, I made it. I'm in Minnesota. I'm in my dining room. So, new background. Girls and I made it through fine, never ran into the problems with the weather that were happening everywhere along the route. So it was a good trip overall. Didn't take me any longer than normal. Things are all good here. Although I do have to say that the weather in Minnesota is utter shite. It can't decide if it wants to rain, sleet, or snow, and it's all happened within the last few hours, which is lovely for what it does to me. But hey, I'm out of bed. It's a good day. So let's get to the things that are really important. The project. The things you need to know. This is a project that was created by Allie of Wonder in Alleyland. It is in collaboration with the Fantastic Ladies Collab group on Facebook. That will be linked down below so you can find that stuff. Let's see. So this is something that started on January 1st and runs through December 31st of 2022. It is a rolling style project with monthly updates. We were originally supposed to pick 4 to 6 products. And when we were finished with those, we had options. Allie gave us options. So we could stay with the same prompt, but start with a new product. We could pick another prompt and start a product. Or she let us pick our own stuff. Well, you know where I went with it, obviously. So I'm not the only one. There are others too. Everybody that I mentioned that I either have taken from or am going to take from will be linked down below. Everything is linked, my articles, all my stuff. That's just kind of my thing. Now, okay, also, if at any point during this ride you feel so inclined to hit that thumbs up button, please feel free to do so. If you think that this is all fun and you want to stick around and see more, hit that subscribe button. Hey, go crazy. Ring the notification bell. Well, okay, don't go too crazy, but if you feel so inclined, you can do that too. That's fine. All right, those are all the deets. Oh, hashtag panningpunk. That's the last thing you need to know, and you can find everybody else's stuff too, just hitting that hashtag. All right, let's get into what I have in the project. I still have my All the Lights for highlighter, which I had originally brought in at the beginning for 20 uses. Now, the prompt for this is Sum 41 Songs Still Waiting. It is a devastating product, or a product that feels like it is taking forever. I only did 20 uses and it's taking forever. I'm at 18. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my last 2 uses, but I'm counting this as a rollout for this update, and I'm bringing in new products. Just know I'm doing my last 2 and then that's going to be gone. Then, for my last update, which was my first update, whatever, I did Allie's list. I grabbed the song Simple Plan, Perfect. Wow. From Allie's list, I went with the band Simple Plan and their song Perfect that she had chosen. A product that gives you a sense of security and comfort. Now, I did my Bath & Body Works body mist, which I was using as a pillow spray. I actually finished it. I'll pop a picture in somewhere, wherever, just to show you the empty bottle because I did not bring it with me. Yeah, I did not carry an empty bottle across country. Things to be proud of. It's the little things in life, really. Now, because other people had started doing lists, I grabbed a song from Anne Elizabeth Murray's list. I went with Screeching Weasel's song Guest List, a product that you like but wouldn't repurchase. Now, for that, I had grabbed the Youth to the People Superberry Hydrate and Glow Dream Mask. So it's a night mask. Now, you should be able to see this if I do it right. There's still product left in there. I've used it a few times. The weight went from 54.2 grams to 51.6 grams. And this is until finish. So I'm just going to keep using that. That one's staying in. Now, Lainey from Makeup with Lainey also did songs. And I loved hers too, just because they were kind of a different era than a lot of the stuff I knew. She had the mains Everything I Asked For, a Holy Grail product. And I decided to roll in my sample size, my trial size, whatever the little size is, of the Lancome Sills Booster, which is my Holy Grail mascara primer. This was 12 grams. It's now 11.8. I think I've used it 17 times, maybe a little bit more. I'm not real sure. This is one of those things that because I'm rolling into the project, I want to see how much of it I can use in 3 months because that's how long you're supposed to have these things. So I'm kind of just tracking by weight, not necessarily usages. But I do try and remember to write down when I actually put on makeup what eyeshadows and stuff I'm wearing. So I'm kind of counting off of that too. All right. Then I did the Husker Du edition for my update last time. So from that, I had picked the song Makes No Sense at All. And that is a product for which I didn't get the hype. So I went with the Thrive Mascara. I only put this in for 10 uses because I wasn't a super huge fan of it the couple times I had tried it. I have used it, today's the 11th time since I've been tracking. And I still don't love it. I'm not a huge fan of tubing mascara. It's a pain in the butt for me to take off. And I'm finding that sometimes I forget, and that is really a hot mess to take off if you've forgotten that you're wearing a tubing mascara and are supposed to use the warm water first. Not a good thing. I've also discovered that in the future, I don't like rubber wands. I like the old-fashioned bristles, hourglass or regular shape, whichever, but I'm not fond of the rubber wands. So that's something I will also steer clear of for future mascara purchases. Now let's get on to the Ramones portion of this. So just a little bit of history about the Ramones themselves. They formed in 1974 in the Forest Hills neighborhood of Queens, New York. All of them adopted the last name Ramone, though I don't know why Ramone. Don't know where that came from. But anybody that has been in the band, well, there are 5 members basically, and they all adopted the last name Ramone. Now, they disbanded in 1996. They had done the Lollapalooza tour, and then after that, they did a farewell concert and disbanded, and to the best of my knowledge, did not reform. But here are the things that are kind of significant. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on March 18th, 2002. The 4 original members and the 1 replacement member were all inducted in that ceremony. So you've got Joey, who passed away in 2001, the lead singer, the bassist Dee Dee, who passed away in 2002, the guitarist Johnny, who passed away in 2004, the original drummer Tommy, who passed away in 2014, and then Marky, who replaced Tommy and is still alive. So all 5 of them were inducted. And then in 2011, they also got a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. So let's start with some of the songs. Now, Rock and Roll High School is the song that Allie put on her list. And this is like a high school staple, is the prompt for that. For me, this is not only the song, but also the movie, because I can't think of one without thinking of the other. And I actually got to see the movie in the theater originally, way back in the day. It was released August 24th of 1979, so at some point in 79 or 80, my dad took me to see this in the movie theater. And I knew who the Ramones were at that point. I loved it. I thought it was great. I was a kid, but I thought it was a great movie. It was fun. It was campy. It was all those cool high school things. And I wasn't in high school at that point yet. And I think I knew about the band because of my dad being in music. I knew a little bit more about the punk scene just in general because of him and his friends. Although when this movie was made, the Ramones were not widely known. They were known in New York, the CBGB's crowd, but they were not known countrywide or worldwide at that point. So the original title of the movie was going to be Disco High. There are enough disco movies from that era. I'm glad they didn't go with that, and it didn't work out for them. So the original musical act they wanted for this was Todd Rundgren. Okay, so not punk at all. At all. No. But they couldn't come to an agreement. So then they thought, well, okay, how about Cheap Trick? Now, I love Cheap Trick. I have seen them live like 25, 30 times. Anytime I get a chance to go see them live, I go see them. One of my all-time favorite bands, just in general. But they also couldn't work out an agreement. Tom Petty turned them down. They considered Devo, which would have been cool, and really made it interesting, because Devo had just been signed, and so that was an option, but that didn't work out. So finally, Alan Arkrush knew about the punk scene, the music, the bands, had heard the Ramones, liked them, and he's the one who kind of brought them to the table with all of this and decided that's the band they were going to go with for the movie. Now, at the time, from what I read, Dee Dee was such a bad actor, they actually cut his lines down to 2 lines, and I think they both involve pizza. I'd have to go rewatch the movie again to get the exact quotes, but it was like, hey, pizza, things like that. Now, there was a bunch of stuff that went on during the filming when they were there with Dee Dee that was kind of not good. So I'm not really going to go into that, but if you want to read the articles that I cite down below, some of that information is in there. There was a whole bunch of stuff that went on with this. So the guys were paid $25,000. To cover their expenses, they actually performed gigs because the $25,000 didn't cover everything. What else do we need? Okay. One of the co-writers for this movie is Joseph McBride. And there are some parallels to things in his life, like his father's life, his life, things like that, that are reflected in the movie. If you don't know anything about that, go check them out. It's really kind of fascinating stuff. Way more than we want to go into here. I go off on enough tangents and down enough rabbit trails that I should keep even your curiosity satisfied. But Joseph McBride, go look him up. Interesting, because he had done a memoir. Interesting life. Okay, so the song Rock and Roll High School itself is a throwback to the 50s and 60s sounds, which is what the guys kind of grew up listening to. And a lot of it is a Beach Boys influence thing. You'll see that later on. We'll talk more about that. This song was recorded 3 times that I'm aware of. So it was recorded and then it was re-recorded. At the last one, because they were working on the End of the Century album while they were doing this movie, Phil Spector was the producer. Now, Phil Spector was a garbage human being. We've established that. But he can't be completely written out of the history of music because of the wall of sound. He created a lot of hits with that. It is a technique that is specifically his. Now, I respect the crap out of Ronnie Spector, so I don't want to laud Phil Spector too much, but I also cannot pretend that he didn't exist. So when he had the Ramones re-record Rock and Roll High School, he did it with that wall of sound technique and actually kind of made it a hit. Now, the good thing about this movie is that it really got the Ramones a lot of recognition countrywide because this was more of a mainstream thing. The movie wasn't like really badly rated or anything like that. I mean, I saw it as a kid. My dad took me and didn't have any qualms about it. So at least it got the Ramones into the knowledge of some more people. And that's a good thing. Although none of the Ramones stuff was really hugely commercially successful at all. So I'm going to tell you about the songs that I picked to include in this episode or ride or whatever you want to call what it is that I do. I don't actually have a good name for it. It's just me losing my mind over music. Doesn't take a lot to trip that trigger. So the first song I went with was I Wanna Be Sedated, which is from 1978's Road to Ruin album. Okay, so this song I always just thought was one of their catchy songs. I did not realize that there was actually a story behind this, and I found it in an article, so now you get to know it too. What happened was they were on tour in New Jersey in 1977, and Joey used a vaporizer for his throat, and the hot water scalded him really badly using this vaporizer. He went on that night, completed the show, went to the hospital afterwards with 2nd and 3rd degree burns. So they ended up having to cancel tour dates. He took some time to recover. They picked the tour back up in Europe. So around Christmas time in 1977, they were in England, and Joey, still not fully healed, still having problems, wrote this song. And that is the song that everybody knows today. I mean, I'm pretty sure you all know this song, right? I mean, this is one of their pretty popular ones. Okay, so for this, there were a couple of ways that I figured a prompt could go on this song. One, an item that brings you comfort because of Joey's accident and healing, or that you don't have to worry about looking good when you use it. Something that's just like an automatic, no-brainer, sedated type of thing. Or, based on the lyrics, the chorus is 20, 20, 24 hours to go. It could be a Longwear product. I thought that might not be a bad prompt either. The second song I picked is Rockaway Beach from 1977's Rocket to Russia album. Now, Rockaway Beach is a real place, and it's where Dee Dee liked to spend time as a child. He really enjoyed it there, and so that's where this song came from. He wrote it. And this is also a Beach Boys influence song that informs a lot of their sound and a lot of their ideas of where they wanted to go musically, despite sounding nothing like the Beach Boys. So this song is their most commercially successful song. It ranked number 66 in America. That's their most commercially successful. And I've got to attribute that to the fact that they're a punk band. That I just don't think that the punk stuff was getting a lot of radio play back in the day, at least not that I remember. The college stations, the alternative stations, definitely, but not mainstream as much. So for this, as a prompt, summer beachy vacation type of item. Okay, third song, Do You Remember Rock and Roll Radio? This is from the 1980s End of the Century album, the one they were recording while they did Rock and Roll High School. And you should look up some information about the filming of that too, like them blowing up the building at the end, that they didn't know it was going to happen. Kind of fun. So the prompt for this is an item that's been in your collection the longest, or that you've been using for the longest amount of time, like something you've repurchased over the years, things like that. The fourth song is one of my all-time favorites, so it's in here simply for that reason. It's I Wanna Be Your Boyfriend from the 1976 self-titled album. This would be an item that you recently fell in love with or got because of a hard sell. Also from that album, the 1976 self-titled album, I picked Blitzkrieg Bop. And I actually considered not including this despite the fact that it is always in the top 10 lists of their most popular songs, simply because Blitzkrieg does refer to a World War II German tactic. Blitzkrieg is a lightning strike. But this song is nothing about war. And so I was trying to be really mindful of things that are going on in the world. And this is supposed to be fun and escapist, or at least I hope that's what it is for a lot of people. That makeup is the fun thing that, if nothing else, you can always pretty your day. But since this song isn't about war, I did include it. Some of their songs have references to Vietnam and some other things, and communism and all that. And so I stayed away from a lot of that, which is why my selection is what it is. But this song, the meaning behind it, literally, it was written by Tommy and Dee Dee, and it is a celebration of rock fandom. The kids are lining up. It's about going to go dancing to see a band. It's all about the fact that Tommy, in particular, loved seeing live music. It was about how much fun as a fan he had, and that's what the song is about. So I did include it, and I think that a good prompt for this is an item for like a night out dancing. Or, so there is a reference that I found, which I can't find anymore, so I can't cite it. But when they were in Europe on this leg of the tour, they kicked this song off. The thing that Joey says to introduce this, I think it was their opening song at that point, was "It's so good to be back in England." Now, I wish I could find the stupid reference again, and I can't seem to. But I thought, hey, just because of that tie-in, an item from another country would be a cool thing to include if you wanted to do it as a prompt. Now, another significant thing about this song is this is where the "hey, ho, let's go" comes from. And that became really, really big for them as an anthem. And that's based on the Bay City Rollers. Yep, you heard me right. Bay City Rollers. Their song Saturday Night, where they chant out the letters to the word Saturday. That's kind of where some of this came from, and the idea of wanting to have that chant is what came out of that song. But it's also based on the sound of Mick Jagger. The Stones covered a song called Walking the Dog, and there's a line that Mick sings in there that says, high, low, tippy toe. The guys thought it sounded like he was saying, hey, ho, and that's where the hey, ho part came from. The rest of it came from one of them walking home with groceries, and it just, the hey, ho, let's go kind of came to him. So this song is basically acknowledged as being the embodiment of the Ramones, their musicality, the whole thing from that era. And they played this song, they said basically it was played at every concert for the 22 years that they were on tour. It's a really cool song. There's a lot of background on this one. And like I said, I'll have all my stuff linked down below for that. So that's kind of a fun one that I thought I would share. The last song I picked, and like I said, I was debating on that one, so I also had this one. And I thought, well, I'm just going to include 6. Who cares if I do an extra one? It's not like it's a make or break thing. I'm making up my own rules on this anyway. I don't think anyone cares what I do. But the song Howling at the Moon from 1984's Too Tough to Die. Have you heard it? No? Go listen. I'll wait. Do you get it now? Do you know why I love this song? It's just awesome. I just love the song. So, because now you've listened to it, you should understand where this comes from. Really, words. I decided the prompt should be a glowy item. You listen to the song, you know why. Okay, that's just based on the lyrics. Now, let's get back to the actual makeup part of this, because I'm sure that's really what you're here for. Music just kind of sets my shorts on fire, and so I tend to go way off track on these things. But let's talk about what we had going on, or what we have going on, what we have coming in, wherever I'm at with whatever I'm saying. So from Allie's list, because I will always pick a song from Allie's list, whether or not that's what I'm focusing on with my weird videos or not. But for this, I actually did Rock and Roll High School, which was a teenage staple item. So I went with my Rare Beauty mascara. I think this is called Perfect Strokes. It just doesn't say that anywhere on here, but that's what I keep hearing everybody call it. So let's see how crappy my system really is, if you can see this wand or not. Can you guys see that? That's the wand. And it's a bristle one. And yes, I still have the same crappy system. So there are times where I'm going to be yellow. And I have no control over what the lighting seems to want to do. Okay, so anyway, I have had this open for a while. I have been using it. So my goal with this is to have it in for a month. At that time, whether it is done or not, I really should be retiring it simply because it'll be old enough where I shouldn't have it near my eyeballs. Now, like I said, if it dies before that, that's fine too. But I want to try and use this for a month, so I'm keeping myself on track. I'm going to get this out of my inventory at that point. I do have others I need to go on to work on. So that's the plan with this. Whether it's empty or not, it's going to be there for a month, and then it's going to go. Now, the weight on that is 8.4 grams. I do try and keep track of what I wear when I wear makeup, so I will try maybe to have some numbers for you, but don't hold me to that, because heaven knows I'm not really all that good with that kind of thing. If you want exact numbers, Danny. She's always got all that down, and I asked, and she said that she just keeps track of it on a piece of paper. I have note cards, I have paper, I have stuff everywhere, and I still can't keep track of things. It is what it is. I'll give you an approximation and a weight when we end it. All right, enough with that. Now, I've already told you about the people that I had picked last time. There are a couple more. Jaylon has been including some songs, and she is calling hers punk adjacent. Now, at my age, when I lived through that era, it was alternative. Do I know if it's the first alternative era? No, I don't. Do I know that it's not the same as what alternative is today? Absolutely. So punk adjacent works at this point. I would have given anything if I could just figure out what I wanted to use for the Smiths song, because I love that. It's probably my second favorite Smiths song. But what actually came to me and works better is the Depeche Mode song that she just included in her last update, Personal Jesus. And that, she created the prompt, an item that is forgiving and fixes everything. I thought that was brilliant. I love the way she's coming up with this logic. So I went with the Revolution Hydrate and Fix Spray. Now, I'm about here on this, and I do use this all the time. It's really, you can't really see through it, but I'm guessing from this tiny little crack in the label is about where I'm at. And my goal on this is going to be to finish. I use it all the time, so I'm just going to leave it in until it is finished. It weighs 102.8 grams right now. I don't care if I have more products in by the end of the project. That's not a big deal to me. All right, so now Charity's beauty stash. Charity also did some songs, and she had Rancid's Black and Blue, a black and blue item. Well, guess what I just got? I just got Raven's Castle. Can you guys see that gorgeous black castle on that blue background? Amazing artwork on this. This is, and I will read it to get it correctly, by Make Up by Lisa. And this is a gorgeous, cool, pinky, little bit pink, silver-toned, neutral color story. So I'm throwing this in for 5 uses. Brand new, haven't even touched it. Super excited to get to that one. So that's going in for charities. Now, I always also, if I'm going to do all of this and come up with all of this, pick a song of what I've listed. So my Ramones song is I Want to Be Your Boyfriend. Now, I made you go listen to Howling at the Moon. If you haven't heard this, you've been under a rock, first of all. Well, okay, I can't say that there's a lot I haven't heard too, but you know what I mean. This is actually a song that isn't that obscure. Sometimes I pick the obscure. Hey, I'm obscure. What can I say? Anyway, so I Want to Be Your Boyfriend, an item that I recently fell in love with or got because of a hard sell. And this actually kind of hits both of those things. I decided to go with the Lancôme Genifique Lancôme Advanced Genifique Youth Activating Concentrate. This is a 1 ounce bottle, weighs in at 118.2 grams. You cannot see through it until you get down to here, so we're going to be going with weights on this one. This is a finished goal. Now, I have finished one of these, the first one ever. I got this, there was an Ulta sale. Now, if you don't know Mary Glitzy Fritzy, I'm going to link her too, because you should know her. She's awful fun. Her outtakes are amazing. They're hilarious. And she's around my age, so like her references I totally get. I think they're hilarious. But this is her thing. She's a Lancôme queen. And so this item had come up, and it was on a ridiculously good sale. And if you bought so much, you got other stuff. Some of the Lancôme products you're seeing in other projects. But basically, it was one of those where it was like, I got a couple of these and then got this whole kit and caboodle of stuff, which had another one of these. And I really love it. So not only did I get the hard sell from her because this is one of her holy grails, but it was a great sale. I used it, went through an entire bottle, and absolutely freaking love it. So I've got another bottle. We're putting in the project. I don't know how long it takes me to go through a bottle of that. I wasn't tracking it. It wasn't in a project. It was just something that I was using in my daily routine twice a day. So we're going to see how long we have that in for, just simply by uses and by weight. All right, people. That should be everything that we need to discuss today for the Ramones and for panningpunk and everything. Yeah, for everything. So please consider giving me a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing and come back to see what other trips the crazy train is going to make. I never know what I'm going to say or do, which is half the fun of doing these videos. And I don't really edit things out. No, I don't edit things out because I don't know how to. So you get all of the weird screw-ups and quirks in every aspect of me. There is nothing polished and perfect on this channel, and there never will be. Never. It's just not in me. So yeah, thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment. Sure, just leave me a comment. Throw in some of what is your favorite Ramones song and why? That'd be a good comment. Comments about anything else. It doesn't have to be completely meaningful. It doesn't have to be deep and profound, whatever it may be. I just like getting comments and I like talking to people. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for taking this trip with me. And until next time, see ya. Bye.